Well, that was some fantastic racing in part one. Now, moving into part two, I'm here with some of the Class B Golfs because actually there are two classes on the circuit. And can you tell me a little bit about the Class B? Because that's what you're racing, isn't it, Dean?
Yeah, I drive a 8-valve Golf GTI, which is a slightly less powerful version of the Golf GTI Mark II. It's slightly cheaper to run and also just as competitive as the faster cars.
So if you wanted to get started with some circuit racing and you didn't want to spend quite as much money perhaps as the Class A, do you think that Class B is a good solution?
Yeah, it's a very good solution. It's clean, cheap, cost-effective racing, which is just as competitive, and it's very friendly.
And the cars are actually easier to look after yourself. So we, as a father and son team, we can manage that. We don't need to be in a team, so that makes it more cost effective for us.
And would you say that that's a good way to bond then, to spend a bit of quality time together?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
And you've actually come up from karting, haven't you?
Yeah, did karting since I was 8 and just finally found that I wanted to move up into racing cars and find it's just as cost effective and just as much fun to race that.
Second race of the day then, with the grid positions formed from the finishing order of race one. So it's Lewis Hopkins in pole with Simon Hill alongside them on the front row of the grid. But watch down in 8th for the charging Craig Roberts heading up Class B, although Nick Jarvis may press him from 11th. Also Nick Porter, who failed to finish race one, starting from 17th. That should be spectacular. The cars all ready for the red lights to flash out, and away we go here at Castle Combe. Once more in the Teekay Couplings Production GTI Championship, and this time it's Simon Hill who's got the jump from the line, and Lewis Hopkins for the first time today has to settle for second best of the field, surge into volley for the first time, 3 wide in the midfield. And already Nick Porter, there you can see him in the middle of your screen, number 31, he's made up about 8 places by the time they arrive into Quarry Corner for the first time, where it's the red car, 51 Simon Hill, who leads second place, 95 Lewis Hopkins, and third is number 1 John Maudsley. Also well away is Craig Roberts as we go in car with Nick Porter as he sprints out of Quarry. It's very busy in the midfield. We're also seeing in car with Chris Webb as well, arriving into the braking zone for the S's for the first time. They jinked through, and Hill has still just got his nose in front of Lewis Hopkins and John Maudsley, and Webb has done very well to come up into 4th position. There is Craig Roberts at the head of Class B. He has got Paul Blackburn right on his tail, and also Martin Walsh in car 96, that's Sky Blue Golf as well, right on his tail. They all sprint towards Tower Corner as the leaders arrive into the second of the chicanes at Bobby's, and Lewis Hopkins beginning to try and apply full court press here to Simon Hill, trying to force the error from Hill. But Simon has won many races in golfs over recent seasons. He's not going to be an easy man to overhaul here at Castle Combe, but he runs a little bit wide there on the way into camp, whereas Lewis Hopkins much more precise on the racing line, just clipping the curb, and that gives Hopkins the run he needs as they accelerate on towards volley. And Lewis Hopkins is in the slipstream here behind Simon Hill. Hill moves him into the road, and Lewis Hopkins determined to go around the outside as they climb up Avon Rise, but it will give him the inside line for Quarry. Hill just feathers the brakes. Hopkins brakes in possibly late. The car bounces on the suspension, and through he goes into lead the race. You will not see a more spectacular move than that this season. Absolutely brilliant stuff there from Lewis Hopkins, and Simon Hill, he can't quite fight back. So the pair of them jinking through the S's. And Simon Hill, though, he's on the tail of Lewis Hopkins, trying to find his way back through. Hopkins, lovely shot there into the cockpit, seesawing at the wheel as the pair of them pound their way on towards Tower Corner. So we take a look at the start in car with Nick Porter to the inside, almost onto the grass. It's about 2 rows he's disposed of by the time they arrive into volley. He then moves to the middle of the road, a couple more cars to get past. He's already gained 6 places before the race is even a few hundred metres old. Super start there from Porter. Let's see how he can continue his progress up through the field as Paul Blackburn's got a run here on Craig Roberts, and he's going to squeeze through, and there is Nick Porter. So he's up towards the bottom end of the top 10, I'd say, Porter, on the tail of Roberts and Blackburn, who are having a fairly ferocious tussle. And all the while Martin Walsh has raced his way through that little group as well. The other thing that Roberts is going to be mindful of here as he runs wide next to the Quarry is that sky blue car you just saw a flash of there, 56 Nick Jarvis. See if we can see Jarvis in the background of this shot. Yes, he's homing into view. He's only about 10 metres or so back from this Martin Walsh-Paul Blackburn scrap. So Roberts, he can't afford to be too delayed here. He's got the pace to move ahead of Walsh and Blackburn. He needs to do so pretty quickly. He also can't afford to get held up in a scrap with Porter, as we see flashing through there. Dean Clayton, we heard from a little bit earlier on, he's showing well up in the fight for the top 10. Leading duo have left John Worsley there in number 1 car, a little bit adrift in 3rd, and then 4th. What a fight we've got here. Chris Webb, 57 on his tail. Tim Hartland, not unsurprising to see Hartland in the thick of the action after his exploits in the earlier race, and he's continuing at that on this occasion. But Webb having his car in all the right places at all the right times, making it very difficult for Hartland to squeeze through. Hartland, though, trying to the inside line at Quarry. No way through there. Instead, the pair of them run bumper to bumper on the exit of Quarry, sprinting on towards the S's, sliding his way through is John Maudsley, and again Webb taking a very tight defensive line into the S's, but they've got really low-lying curves here at Castlecombe. Those Vallelunga curves after the Italian circuit, just the outskirts of Rome, and it means the cars can really run right over the curbing at those chicanes, and you can get in a couple of tenths per second if you're feeling really adventurous, and that could be what Tim Hartland has done, because he looks to dive to the inside at Tower Corner, and through he goes. That's a beautifully dodged move, and Tower is a scary corner. You can see how near to the circuit the barriers are, and if you're going to be late on the brakes, you can get it just right. There are those low-lying curves we were telling you about, a little bit coarser on the exit of the corner, so Chris Webb does well to give those a wide berth as he continues his pursuit with Tim Hartland. Turn would like to try and drop if he can and get onto turns with John Maudsley. Meanwhile, the leading duo are getting a little bit closer once more. Simon Hill has been in the shadow of Lewis Hopkins for most of the race, but he now seems to have brought that gap down, and it's about a third of a Golf's length, no more than that, as they hit the brakes. Both of them snatching the brakes into Quarry, pinching the rear of the car into a slide. There is Simon Hill, and that's trying to propel him with as good an exit as possible, which he's got. The pair of them sprinting on towards the S's. No way through to the inside there, although Hopkins just teases Hill. He shows the width, then slams the door shut. And Hopkins, that's a brilliant shot of a race driver in action. Hopkins looking a long way up the road ahead. He's not thinking about Simon Hill behind him. He's thinking about what to do over the next section of the road. And it means that Hill can swarm all he likes around Hopkins' tail. But Hopkins determined and just doing his own job as Hill begins to look a little bit ragged just over the curbs and exit of Tower. And it means he misses the braking point for Bobby's straight across the chicane. He rejoins. He's lost no time, or only a couple of tenths or so. But that may take him a while to reel back in. And wherever you look in this field, there's battling going on. Nick Jarvis has got James Howlerson now up onto his tail, and Howlerson in turn has got somebody else for company, and that is the 52 car of Duncan Holder, who's part of that fight. Martin Walsh, Craig Roberts and Nick Porter still very much disputing places for the second half of the top 10, but Porter's got the run through Folly here. He draws alongside Roberts and looks to power his way past up Avon Rise. Craig Roberts, though, thinks about fighting this on the brakes. Let's see. Well, they're both equally brave, and it's Roberts who's got the inside line. Nick Porter, though, trying around the outside. Roberts gives him racing room. Very fair and clean racing in this championship. So the pair of them sprinting on towards the S's as Lewis Hopkins works through Bobbies. We're into the very late stage of the race here, and Hopkins is looking set to do the double in the opening rounds of the season for the Teekay Couplings Production GTI Championship. Behind, though, all bets are off, particularly in Class B, because look at this. Roberts has been caught by Nick Jarvis, and Jarvis is launching a late challenge to deny Craig Roberts the double win. Well, he's got about half a lap to hold on, but he's on the tail of James Blackburn and trying to squeeze through as they head towards camp for the final time, which is exited now by Lewis Hopkins. He is going to come through and take a double victory. Simon Hill much closer this time around in second, with John Maudsley completing the podium. But what about that fight for Class B, because that was very, very tight last time we saw them as the leaders celebrate. Sideways goes Paul Blackburn. Roberts is in pursuit, and Craig Roberts is just going to claim Class B from Nick Jarvis. Absolutely fantastic race then. And let's take a look at the final results, with victory for Lewis Hopkins from Simon Hill, just second adrift, Maudsley in third in Class B and ninth overall. Roberts did hold off Jarvis by half a second.
We're here with Lewis again, and it feels like a deja vu. You've won the second race as well. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a bit tight to that one, but we pushed hard. Had a little moment halfway through that, but I'm very pleased with that. Very happy.
What happened in your little moment?
Well, I thought I had a rear puncture, So I went a bit slower, lost it a little bit going into, can't remember the corner, but the first corner, but it's all right, got away with it.
Talk us through the second race.
It was closer than the first one. I got the jump on Lewis off the grid, and then I think on the second lap he came past me into quarry. Fair move. He just drove straight around the outside of me, so well deserved for that. And then I started reeling him in again, and I got pretty close, initially touching his bumper down the start-finish straight. But I went too deep into the chicane, the second chicane. I arrived sideways, had to bail out of that, which gave him a bigger gap. But at the end of the day, catching is one thing, overtaking is another. So all I could do was just sit on his bumper and hopefully wait for him to make a mistake. He didn't, so well-deserved win for him.
It was really good to watch Lewis and Simon from behind. It was a good spectator sport, and I really enjoyed the race. A bit tiring for an old man, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Great fun, cold, but great day.
Brilliant race again. Mixed it with some really quick 16 valve cars this time. It was a really good race. Got a good start again. Kept it clean at the first corner, and it was good. Good battles all the way through.
Wow, what a great day's racing with the Production GTI Championship. Tune in next week for some more track action.